Indeed, India's Akshay Dongre joins us on the story now. Akshay, why has the US chosen to ignore Ukraine and Europe for the peace talks with Russia? Are its priorities changing?
Well, Tanvi, whether or not the US's priorities have changed is quite a wide question. But if you look at the policies of Donald Trump, even in his first tenure, Donald Trump had clarified that Europe needs to do more as far as its own defense apparatus is concerned. Now, in NATO as well, several of the European countries have been paying for far less than it was required for the European countries to do as far as the NATO membership is concerned, which was about 2% of their GDP. However, not many countries were meeting this criteria, and that created friction earlier, and that has created friction this time as well. And when it comes to the policies of the United States, there are a lot of parties involved in it. You have the Senate, you have the Congress, but when you look at the representative government right now, that is of the Donald Trump, then clearly the priorities of Donald Trump remains the same as it were in the first tenure, as far as pulling back from U.S. involvement is concerned when it comes to spending on military, when it comes to spending on security of Europe. Donald Trump has made it quite clear early on in his second tenure that enough is enough, and U.S. will not be paying for any more of Europe's security, and the European countries will have to do more as far as ensuring their own security and spending for that security is concerned, either to the U.S. or they can do it on their own as far as the military spending is concerned. So clearly, there Donald Trump has outlined his priorities, that the country, that United States will not be paying anymore as far as Europe's security is concerned.
Okay. For Europe, the US has always been the exceptional nation, the indispensable one to summon in times of trouble. But with the changed stance of Trump 2.0 administration, who else is there to turn to now?
Well, that's a question, in fact, that has been asked for several decades. In fact, since World War I, we have seen that every time there was a war in Europe, it was the US that was the deciding factor. In fact, in World War II, Churchill had hoped for the US involvement as soon as possible. And it was only after Pearl Harbor bombing that US got involved in World War II, and that changed the tide of war against the Nazi Germany. So clearly, US has been taking that role of security provider to Europe for the past several decades. Even during the Cold War, we saw how US was the one party, one nation that had come to the defenses of European countries, that had come to provide security to the countries. But now, with US pulling back, with Donald Trump at its help, clearly European countries have nowhere to turn to. They can't turn to Russia. That's an adversary. They can't turn to China, which is also a competitor. And they will have to shore up its own defenses, spend on its own security, and become self-reliant as far as this multipolar world is concerned when it comes to security. And Europe is coming soon to realize that how soon they will have to make this transition from being dependent on the US for security to becoming its own security provider.
Indeed, tectonic shifts of order structure becoming more
Absolutely.
visible after the Munich Security Conference. Thank you very much, Akshay Dongre, for reporting on this story.